Well, good morning. Good to see everyone here today. We're in Luke, the 11th chapter. Luke, the 11th chapter. We'd gotten down to somewhere around verse 27. If you remember last week, we talked about getting rid of the bad in a person's life. You've got to fill your life with something. And it's our responsibility to replace that bad with good. Now in verse 27 kind of changes a little bit. While Jesus was saying these things, one of the women in the crowd raised her voice and said to him, "Blessed is the womb that bore you and the breast which you nursed." And he said, "On the contrary, blessed are those who hear the word of God and observe it." What did this lady hear? What was wrong with what she said?
She was praising Mary instead of God.
Exactly. We all know that Mary was a very extraordinary lady. We know that. Nothing taken away from her. But what is Jesus wanting people to focus on? Okay? Huh? On God. Obeying His will. Obeying His will. Hearing the Word of God and observe it or do it. So many times people can hear the Word for 50 years. But if you don't do nothing about it, has it done you any good? You see what I'm saying? He's telling you here, you can hear the Word, but then observe it. Do it. Do something with it. Now in verse 29. As the crowds were increasing, he began to say, "This generation is a wicked generation. It seeks for a sign, and yet no sign will be given to it, but the sign of Jonah. For the sign of Jonah became a sign of the Ninevites. So will the Son of Man be to this generation. The Queen of the South will rise up with the men of this generation at the judgment and condemn them, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, something greater than Solomon is here. The men of Nineveh will stand up with this generation at judgment and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and behold, something greater than Jonah is here." Of course, we understand these people here, and it's like a lot of people today, looking for a sign. Looking for a sign. What is Jesus telling them here about that, a sign? I want to see something spectacular. You got to remember, these people have seen what? Time and time again, they've seen Jesus heal the sick. It's just unbelievable. They've seen it with their eyes.
Raise them again. Yeah, raise the dead.
Raise the dead. You just name what all Jesus has done. And they still want a sign. Still want a sign. That's unbelievable to me. You've seen all the things that has been taking place. It's not hearsay to these people. They've seen it.
But we're a lot like that too. We've seen, especially those of us that are older, have seen when we look back time and time again where God has moved in our lives or those in the lives of those we love, but then we still doubt it.
We still doubt. We still doubt. So he's saying they're not going to get anything besides the sign of Jonah. What would that be? We all remember Jonah, the story of Jonah, don't you?
Swallowed by a big fish and spit back.
Yeah, God told him to go to Nineveh, and he said, "No, I'm not going there. I don't want to go to them folks."
He caught a fish too, didn't he?
Well, or he caught him, one of the two, yeah. He was on a boat and going to get tore all to pieces in the storm. He told him to throw me over. After all that incident, what did Jonah do? He went to the Ninevites. Yeah. He had a change of mind, didn't he? He taught to the Ninevites. He taught them. And what did they do? This is the key. They repented. They repented of what they had been doing. That's what he's wanting them to understand. The sign of Jonah. You have to remember, these people, this would be hard to take, wouldn't it? When you stop and think about this, when it says this generation is a wicked generation, could you sit there and take that very long? Huh? He's telling them to their face, man, y'all's in bad shape. Y'all is in bad shape. Let's look there in verse 33 now. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it away in a cellar nor under a basket, but on a lampstand, so that those who enter may see the light. Now let's stop right there for just a second. That makes sense, doesn't it? If you light up a candle, does it do any good if you put something on top of it?
Can't see it.
It's wasting its time, isn't it? It's wasting its energy. Everyone in here knows if you put a candle, you put it up there where everybody can see. Yeah, that way it shines the light. The light is shown all over the room.
Is that saying Christians should do the same, not hide their Christianity under?
Exactly. Exactly. If someone doesn't know that you're a Christian, what does that tell you?
Just tell you-
What does that tell you?
And that's the way, some people, only way they can teach.
Exactly, in their life, I understand. But if they don't know that you're a Christian, what does that tell you?
That you're not.
You're not doing your job. Yeah, yeah. Continue on there in verse 34. We're just talking about the light and the lamp. The eye is the lamp of your body. When your eye is clear, your whole body also is full of light. But when it is bad, your body also is full of darkness. Then watch out that the light in you is not darkness. If therefore the whole body is full of light, with no dark part in it, it will be wholly illuminated, as when the lamp lights you with its rays. Now you stop and think about that. You think about that. What does it mean there when it says the eye is the lamp of your body?
It shows you everything you need to do, really.
Okay.
Without
It
your eyes,
tells
it's
you when
dark.
you're doing wrong.
Do what?
Without your eyes, it's darkness.
Exactly. Without your eyes, what are you? Blind. Boy, now think on that a minute. If your eye is clear, your whole body also is full of light. But when it is bad, your body is full of darkness. So what does that tell you and I in these few verses? What do we need to do? You've heard this little kid song, "Let Your Light Shine." That's what it's saying.
And Christians' life is Bible, so we know what to do.
But it goes deeper than that. Let your light shine in whatever you do. At work, at school, at home. So many times we think, well, our light needs to shine here. Yes, it does. But how much time do you spend outside these walls?
Way more than you spend.
Way more than you spend in here. Okay? So he's wanting you to let your light shine in your life.
Everywhere you go, talk to your neighbor.
In your life, yeah. Whatever that might be, let your light shine. Okay? Because if we don't let our light shine, how can Jesus be seen in you? Okay?
I know you can be talking to even just a stranger, and you have this feeling that there is a connection.
Yeah.
You know, and come to find out you both go to church.
Yep.
You know, and there's just something about that there's a lot.
That's it. That's it. And you can tell when you meet a stranger by how they talk. You can tell if they're a God-fearing person or not. We have feed delivered in, and you have truck drivers. And they're from all over the country. You can tell exactly what kind of folks they are real quick. Good or bad, but you can tell. I'm not talking about truck drivers. I'm just people that you run across.
And
Okay?
there's automatically a trust there that isn't there.
Exactly.
You know, you just have that closeness.
But your light can shine in someone that you don't know, that you just met.
Hey, Phil, I used to be a truck driver and drove all over
Yeah.
the U.S. And my light didn't shine as good as it does now.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. So many times we want to classify us as sharing the Word of God as teaching someone. It don't always have to be having a Bible study with someone. How do you live your life? What example do you portray? That right there, man, you can tell a lot in a person by their example.
Most of the time, your actions, that old saying,
Yeah.
actions speak louder
It
than
does.
words, is so true.
It
because
is.
You can say you're a Christian 50, 60 times a day, but if your actions don't back that up, people are gonna see it real fast.
Real fast. It's just something that we need to think about. That shining your light, letting your light shine, is so much more than what we want to give it credit for. It's so much more in your life than what you sometimes think about. Okay? Now in verse 37. Now when he had spoken, a Pharisee asked him to have lunch with him. And he went in and reclined at the table. Okay, this is unusual, isn't it? A Pharisee asking Jesus for lunch. We have to remember, he asked them in and they reclined at the table. It's hard for us to visualize that. They were laying around the table eating. Okay, we all sit at the table. They did things a little different back then. Okay? Continuing on. When the Pharisee saw it, he was surprised that he had not first ceremonially washed before the meal. What had just happened here before we go any further? Pharisees, what did they do? Everything they done was about show. They did special washings and all this. Washing their hands is a big deal for them. Okay? That's what he's talking about, ceremonial washing. Jesus came in and what did he do? He said he just sat down. Didn't do that washing. Okay? He had not first ceremonially washed before the meal. But the Lord said to him, "Now you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but inside of you, you are full of robbery and wickedness." That's about as straight as you can get, isn't it? What did he tell them? You people's worried about the outside appearance instead of what's inside. How does that relate to us today? How does that relate to us today? Are there people that's more worried about the physical look instead of the spiritual? We need to stop and think about that. What's important in your life? What's going on outside or what's going on inside? Verse 40. You foolish ones, Did not he who made the outside make the inside also? But give that which is within as charity, and then all things are clean for you. What did he say there? What did Jesus say here?
Focus on fixing your heart.
Fix it. What? Fix it. Fix the inside and he'll take care of everything else. Fix the inside and he'll take care of everything else. Is that easy to do? To take care of what our spiritual should be? Sometimes it's very hard to do that. It's very hard to do that at times. Verse 42. But woe to you, Pharisees, for you pay tithes of mint and rue and every kind of garden herb, and yet disregard justice and the love of God. But these are the things you should not have done. You should have done without neglecting the others. He's telling them here, you're worried about the physical things, just like we've been talking about. And you've been neglecting everything else. How did the Pharisees view other people?
Beneath them.
Yeah. They viewed themselves as a step above. Okay? That's the simplest way I know. They just thought they was a step above. And everybody else was sinners. Okay? Woe to you, Pharisees! For you love the chief seats in the synagogues and the respectful greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, for you are like concealed tombs, and the people who walk over them are unaware of it. Okay, this is pretty straight talk here. What's he telling them? You like the chief seats in the synagogue, and you want the big greetings there when somebody meets you in the marketplace. So basically, what are they saying? What's he saying here? You love your position, don't you? You love, huh?
Popularity, you want it.
You love your position in life, and you're neglecting everything else.
Put it above righteousness.
Exactly. Does that happen today? Nod your head, because it does.
If you don't believe it, turn the TV on.
Yeah, it does. It does. Verse 45 now. One of the lawyers said to him in reply, Teacher, when you say this, you insult us too. Exactly. That was the point of it. That was the point of it, to make y'all think. But he said, Woe to you lawyers as well, for you weigh men down with burdens hard to bear, while you yourself will not even touch the burdens with one of your fingers. What's he saying there? What did he say there about the lawyers?
They feel he's talking about spiritual lawyer, right, and not lawyer of the land.
Well, you could look at it here as the lawyers of the land right at this point. Yeah. Because these folks right here, they were above tax collectors, but not a whole lot. You know what I mean? They did whatever. It's just like right here. It says, you weigh men down with burdens hard to bear. What is a lawyer's job? To put things on other people. okay, to make other people.
Try to get the best for the one that's failing.
And then it says you won't even touch with one finger a burden of what you're doing. Okay, you want everything to apply to someone else except you. Do we do that at times? We have, you know, it's easy for us to see someone else sinning, isn't it? I don't have that problem, you think. But I guarantee you, we do. We just don't see it. Or we ain't looking.
And you may not have that particular.
And you may not
problem,
have that
but you've got
particular,
another
but
one.
you've got problems. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I
Yeah.
think we can all look around and see somebody
Yeah.
that struggles with something we don't, but that doesn't mean that we don't struggle with anything.
That's right. That's right.
If these were lawyers, they should have known the old law, and in Micah, you know, he's quoting where it says, "What does the Lord require of you but to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with
That's
your
right.
God?"
These folks should have known all that. Yeah. And here he was telling them, well, you, teacher, you're insulting us. You're hurting my feelings. Have you ever heard that? I'll hurt somebody's feelings if I tell them that they're wrong spiritually.
So they didn't get anything out of what he said.
No! Went right over their head.
Well, they did get something out of it, or it wouldn't have hurt their feelings.
Well,
So
he
they-
said that to make Jesus feel bad, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'm
Trying to
sure,
catch
but-
him. Yeah,
But it had to have, something had to have struck a chord, or they would have just let it
exactly.
go on by.
Exactly. Now in verse 47, woe to you, for you build the tombs of the prophets, and it was your fathers who killed them. So you are witnesses and approve the deeds of your fathers, because it was they who killed them, and you built their tombs. For this reason also the wisdom of God said, I will send to them prophets and apostles, and some of them they will kill, and some they will persecute. So that the blood of all the prophets shed since the foundation of the world may be charged against this generation, from the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who was killed between the altar and the house of God. Yes, I tell you, it shall be charged against this generation. Woe to you, lawyers, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. You yourselves do not enter, and you hinder those who were entering.
I need you to explain 50 and 51, Phil.
50 and 51. So that the blood of the prophets shed since the foundation of the world shall be charged against the generations, from the blood of Abel on down. He's talking about this generation, their folks too. They're the ones that did this. They're the ones that turned against God.
But we're told that we are not responsible for the sins of our fathers.
But he's telling them that his fathers and y'all's not changed, so both of y'all's going to have to answer. Is the way I look at it. Now, I may be wrong. But when he's talking about this generation, he's talking about them all the way up to today. They haven't changed. They haven't changed. They're still persecuting. What are they doing to Jesus? What will they do to Jesus?
They're gonna kill him.
You see my son? Am I thinking right?
I don't think so. You go back.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say you go back to 29, and he tells them that this generation is a wicked generation. He's still in this larger conversation here about the fact that this generation is just completely sinful. They're repeating the same sins now as they did before. And to top it all off, this generation is the generation that's going to kill Jesus.
Yep.
Same thing. And they're still repeating the same cycle over and over again.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. I don't know. That's just one of those that I wrestle with a lot, is because for the same reason. That's the only way that makes sense in my head.
Well, the thing of it is, they haven't changed their ways.
Well,
There-
when he says this generation, is that the generation that's alive when the Romans finally come and destroy the Jewish nation?
How many years would that have been after Jesus?
40.
About 40? Very possibly. Very possibly.
You know, and if that's Jesus predicting that the Jewish nation is going to be done away with, then I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I think that's probably in there with it, yes. Yeah.
You're gonna pay from A to Z,
And that's basically what he's saying.
and it's gonna be
Yeah.
over with.
Yeah.
But if he's saying this group of Pharisees and lawyers, you're responsible for all those
Yeah,
other
yeah,
things.
I see what you're saying, yes. I think he's talking about the destruction, yeah, whenever it comes to an end, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
When he left there, the scribes and Pharisees began to be very hostile and to question him closely on many subjects, plotting against him to catch him in something he might say. Okay, here the Pharisees and the scribes are sitting taking this. They figured that as an insult from what all he was saying. And now look what it says. They began to be very hostile and question him closely about many subjects. But not only that, they were plotting to catch him. They wasn't doing it just to prove themselves right. They were doing it to try to get Jesus to stumble on something. Okay? We're going to stop right there, and we'll take up with chapter 12 next week. Thank you for your comments.